Good afternoon, everybody. Wow, we have a big crowd today. Welcome to the Forest and Beach meeting. Today is June 11th, 2026, and I'd like to call this meeting to order at 2:31. Okay.
Commissioner Burling? Here. Commissioner Brzezowski?
Present.
Commissioner Ross?
Here.
Commissioner Ruda?
Here.
Chair Mickey?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we move forward, Commissioner Brzezowski will be coming to us from Zoom, so she has a remote participation today. So for the record, if I could please note that Commissioner Kelly Brzezowski is participating remotely today under Government Code Section 549.53.8.3, Just Cause, teleconferencing provisions. A quorum of the commission is present in person in the council chambers, which is open to the public and located within the city's jurisdiction. And Commissioner Brzezowski, if you could please state the general just cause reason for your remote participation. You do not need to disclose any medical diagnosis, disability, or confidential medical information.
Thank you, Chair. I'm out of town with a family medical emergency.
Thank you. Before the commission takes any action, please also disclose whether anyone 18 years of age or older is present in the room with you at your remote location, and if so, the general nature of your relationship to that person.
Thank you. I'm participating on my own in this meeting today.
Thank you. The record will reflect that Commissioner Brzezowski is participating remotely by both audio and video under Government Code Section 549.53.8.3, and all votes will be taken by roll call. Thank you, Commissioner Brzezowski.
Thank you.
Okay. Could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I go to public appearances, does anybody have any announcements? Okay. Public appearances are for members of the public that are entitled to speak on matters of municipal concern not on the agenda during public appearances. Each person's comments shall be limited to 3 minutes or as otherwise established by the chair. While stating your name is optional, it helps to identify speakers in the meeting minutes. Under the Brown Act, public comment for matters on the agenda must relate to that agenda item, and public comments for matters not on the agenda must relate to the subject matter jurisdiction of this legislative body. Remote or in-person participants who do not comply with the requirements of the Brown Act will be muted. Does anybody have any public comment today? Yvette, is there anybody online?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine in nature and do not require discussion or independent action. Members of the commission or the public may ask that any items be considered individually for purposes of board commission discussion and/or for public comment. Unless that is done, one motion may be used to adopt all recommended actions. And today we have approval of the May 2026 Forest and Beach Commission meeting minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the May 26th meeting.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burling?
Yes.
Commissioner Brzezowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Commissioner Ruda?
Yes.
Chair Mickey?
Yes.
Thank you. This motion is passed.
Okay, and I wanted to have a conversation. Justin, we last month had to, and I do apologize to the leadership group that we couldn't hear you last month, so I thank you for coming back this month. Were we going to try to have them
Yeah,
go
I would
first?
ask you, the commission, to move their item to the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
Just in respect of them getting continued last time.
Okay. Do we need to take a vote on that, Yvette, or can we just, okay. All right. Would you like to go ahead and introduce them, Justin?
Yes, so this is this item, sorry, that's all the way back now, is the 2026 class of Leadership Carmel, and they're going to do a presentation on their project Harmony Habitat. And did I bury the lead?
No, we were at.
In Forest Hill Park.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hello, thank you everyone, and thank you for having us present our project to the Forest and Beach Commission. How do we uphold the cultural heartbeat of a village in a digital age and encourage the next generation to engage with the natural beauty of Forest Hill Park? We are Leadership Carmel 2026, a 9-month personal and professional development program designed to inspire and serve current and future leaders. As part of our curriculum, each class executes a legacy project as a gift to the Carmel community. Our class of 9 has found a common passion for youth, music, and the outdoors. We are collectively inspired by the creative spirit of Carmel and look forward to sharing more about our upcoming project. Our resolution is Harmony Habitat. More than just a playground. This is a sculptural outdoor musical sanctuary designed to celebrate our youth and ensure they remain the inspiration for the Song of Carmel. We aim to show them to be excellent. We aim to show them how to be excellent and equitable global citizens in a harmonious world. Harmony Habitat offers, for the community, a distinctive civic asset that enriches public life. For families, shared experiences that invite connection and presence. For adults, moments of inspiration, curiosity, and playfulness. As a peaceful heart of the Central Coast, Carmel is home. Harmony Habitat is essential to ensuring this remains true. The project acts as a bridge between the raw beauty of our Monterey pines and the sophisticated artistic soul of our community. The park will be further enhanced with landscaping and greenery surrounding the instruments. Here, creativity is not behind a velvet rope. It is under the open sky and accessible to everyone. Furthermore, music economies provide significant multiplier effects, driving tourism, job creation, and cultural identity while improving quality of life. These advantages make our town more attractive to residents and businesses alike, creating a virtuous cycle of growth. It is our responsibility to support and guide our youth as our first priority. We look forward to bringing this vision to life for the future of Carmel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, Council. My name is Christy. The rhythm of this village is within the people. Our dream to enhance the playground at Forest Hill Park is a unique offering that will allow expression, creativity, and joy for all. Here you can see the site map plan that we have for the chosen instruments, and with the collaboration of Public Works, we chose this location in shared vision. We'd like to create this space and bring more to the park. Amongst many reasons for this installation, I'd like to highlight some of the health benefits of engaging with music. For children, music serves as a powerful tool for emotional regulation. It helps teenagers process feelings, reduce stress, and cope with anxiety. Listening and playing music can lower cortisol levels, slow heart rate, and activate brain regions associated with the reward and emotion, providing comfort and pleasure. Music facilitates social bonding and community building. Participating in music groups strengthens peer connections and encourages collaboration. Also, engaging with music enhances cognitive development, including memory, attention, and problem-solving skills. Studies have shown that children and teens who participate in regular musical activities demonstrate improved academic performance and higher IQ levels compared to the peers who do not. Learning instruments or composing music strengthens focus and discipline. Music performing can stimulate almost all regions of the brain, strengthening neural connections and promoting neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to recognize and form new connections. Music can improve learning, memory, and concentration, and even enhance verbal intelligence. Engagement in music later in life is associated with higher cognitive function, better learning ability, and improved mental well-being. Music can reduce the perception of pain and promote relaxation. It can also enhance physical performance, such as improving endurance during exercise, and may support recovery in stroke patients. Additionally, music can positively influence heart rate, blood pressure, and overall physiological stress responses. Music does foster social connections and bonding, helping to prevent loneliness, and it does strengthen relationships. Participating in group music activities can enhance feelings of belonging and improve overall quality of life. Here you can see the decibel levels of the chosen instruments in comparison to our daily sounds, or to regular daily sounds. Elephant is included for scale. At the approximate distance from the instruments to homes, the sounds of the instruments are similar to an average conversation. The cars driving by are louder than the instruments, and so are shouting children. We chose these instruments due to their soft chime tones, and we did not want drums or banging, rather the soft chime-like sounds to enhance the ambiance of the playground. Our next steps to see this enhancement through are to finish our fundraising. We're a third of the way there, with some more donors awaiting the results of this meeting. Once that goal is met, we will order the instruments, install them, have a safety check-off, followed by a ribbon cutting, and our projected date to finish is at the beginning of October.
Next slide.
Go to the next slide. Hello, I'm Catherine. Thank you so much for having us present. We have already done quite a bit of community outreach. We've have support from the Carmel Residents Association through Nancy Toomey. She's let the Carmel Residents Association know a couple times about our project and the progress that we've made. We've also presented to the board of the Carmel Chamber of Commerce Board. And then we're also reaching out to local businesses and local residents as we go. We do have a lot of supporters. We have a list here of who we've reached out to, the youth center as well. And in terms of our fundraising support, so far our biggest supporter has been Montage. So far we have $10,000 from Montage, and then from local community and businesses, we have about 33,000 on top of that. So we're about a third of the way to reaching our goal of 30,000.
3,300? 3,300 or
1,300.
Oh.
Did I say 13? No,
You said 1,000.
yeah, 13,000 is where we're at right now. And we're trying to reach 30 to get everything ordered and installed. And so besides the grant from Montage, we have submitted a grant to the Rotary Club. They would like to know the outcome of this meeting, but they're happy to receive our grant request. We've also reached out to Focus Fund. They're very interested. Yellow Brick Road would like to discuss our project in July. And Big Sur Marathon has our grant application. They're letting us know pretty soon. And we've also been invited by the Arts Council of Monterey County to apply for sponsorship. And that one's due in July. And we have the amazing support of Public Works, who we have as a group, the leadership group. We've worked with Public Works in the past on a project at Forest Hill Park as well. The stumps that are there and the braille board and the little tunnel. That was a previous leadership group class, and Public Works has been amazingly supportive and helpful. On top of our requests, our pending requests, we do feel confident that we are going to reach our goal of fundraising. We also have an anonymous donor that wants to help us make up the difference to get to our 30,000 so that we can have the full musical ensemble together at the playground. And can you go to the next one? just a list of more of our supporters as well. Yeah, and we're continuing to spread the word locally to the residents and businesses as well. So we really appreciate you learning about our project, and we look forward to hearing your feedback about it. Thank you so much.
Hi, Council. My name is Ryan, and let me go to the next slide. Sorry. Next one. Okay. We had a slide with our constituents in Leadership Carmel, and they were talking about their passions behind the project, but we don't have that slide. So I just wanted to say, I'm also a resident of Carmel as well. So I live here and I care very much for, what happens here. And I try to be involved and make a positive impact. So I just want to say, it's just also not our team who has been inspired by this vision of Harmony Habitat. Well-regarded organizations, legacy, community spaces, educators, artists, musicians, families, parents, and local leaders have all recognized the potential this project has to create meaningful connection through nature, music, and community. From parents imagining their children experiencing Forest Hill Park in a new way, to musicians and artists who believe creativity should live beyond gallery walls and concert halls, the support behind Harmony Habitat reflects a shared desire to create something lasting, meaningful, and deeply human. Because at its heart, Harmony Habitat is really about something many of us have not felt in a long time. That rare moment when the world begins to feel big again, and you feel small in the best possible way. So I ask you, what if a child, an adult, a parent, a grandparent, or even a great-grandparent stands beneath these trees, hears music drifting through the ocean air, and for a moment feels small in the best possible way, filled with wonder, possibility, and a deeper connection to the world around them? In a time where much of life moves faster and louder, what if Harmony Habitat became a place that helped people slow down long enough to truly feel something again? That is the heart of Harmony Habitat. Not simply a project, but an experience rooted in connection, imagination, art, and community. Today, we invite the Forest and Beach Commission to help bring that feeling to life here in Carmel. Not only for this generation, but for every generation that will someday stand beneath the trees after us. We look forward to creating that future together. Now we open it up for Q&A.
One of the questions that we had was about the sound, and if you were able to bring something in that could give us an idea of what it might sound like, whether it was recording or something.
Yeah, so in the presentation, there is a link on one of the slides that does have a YouTube link, but unfortunately, we're not able to play sound here in the chamber hall, so.
I do have a video of my son playing the same instruments at his school.
Put it up to the microphone, perhaps?
Yes.
That'd be great, thank you.
We can also go to each link and play those if you would like us to as well.
From our phone, yeah.
From the phone.
Okay, yeah, let's start with maybe what you have.
At Monte Vista Elementary School in Monterey, on their TK and kindergarten playground, they have one of each of most of these, except for the mushroom, because it's pretty big, and the cymbals. So let's see, this is one of the bigger flowers.
Oh, sounds cool. Oh, sounds cool.
That's me. And then my son really liked the tree. There's 3 mallets that are attached to the tree, and the mallet is rubber on the end. What else do we have? We have the little butterfly. Wait, do that one again? Yeah, so those are the ones at his school. The two big flowers, and a butterfly and the tree.
Okay, thank you. Question?
Yeah, so, a couple thoughts. First, I like the idea. It's really difficult to really get a good idea of what it sounds like, and so I would really like to suggest, because we talked about it, can we go actually see and hear the cymbals at Monte Vista? Okay. Let me finish my thoughts.
Yes.
Absent that information, last Saturday, I went down to Forest Hill Park with a drum cymbal, and Commissioner Brzezinski went with me, because I really wanted to try to gauge how loud or not. And granted, what I did was not a apples to apples, because I haven't heard these, but I needed to kind of get a first approximation. So we put it in that spot, and I don't think we banged on it really hard. We kind of did it a reasonable amount. I had a sound meter. I stood across the street on the driveway of the house that's closest. So I was measuring a 60 decibel sound, and it was still kind of loud. So my concern is, it's a very quiet neighborhood, a quiet area, and in the context of the last year or so of what we've gone through with pickleball, I think we need to be careful in terms of consistency of putting something that may be loud in that park. We got to be thoughtful about this. The other comment I would make is, how do we prevent somebody at 2 a.m. from going over there and deciding to emulate Neil Peart or somebody like that on the instruments? Because that would be a bad thing. And Commissioner Brzezinski, I don't know if you had any other commentary that you wanted to add to this.
Sure. Tamara, is it okay if I speak, or would you
Yes,
like me to?
please.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I would just say, I think I echo the comments about the concept. I think it's a fabulous concept. I also echo, I think it would be really hard to make any decision without actually experiencing and seeing these instruments. And since we have them in other places on the peninsula, I would encourage us to have a field trip before we took action to agree to put this in the park. It was loud. I think the one flaw in the decibel chart you showed, and this was a learning that the commission had during the pickleball, when we were exploring pickleball, is that when you have sound down below a street or houses, when you get further away, the sound actually does not drop a whole lot. You could hear the sounds all around the park when we were just tapping on some of the cymbals that we looked at in the park this past weekend. So I would just encourage, a field trip if that's possible.
That's not possible.
And perhaps also for the leadership group to consider alternate locations. It seems like these are on the peninsula, they're in schools. Like if we looked at Carmel River School, maybe we should be putting this in our elementary school playground where more children would even be able to have the exposure, or an alternate location that was less residential, right? Like Devendorf Park, or maybe an area near one of the beaches. I just think without better understanding the true sound impacts, especially with what we just went through with pickleball in this exact same location, that it would be hard to move forward with that location without more information on the sound.
So I have a question for, I guess, Justin, maybe Sherry. So I couldn't tell from what's on the agenda, what exactly are we deciding on here today? The agenda says we're receiving a presentation.
Yeah, it's feedback, and depending on what that feedback is, what the project would go to. And it is not, I understand the pickleball aspect, but this is a playground. This is already pretty loud. there's a different assumption of living next to a tennis court and living next to a playground. I've lived next to 3 elementary schools in the Bay Area, and they're extremely loud.
So Justin, that didn't kind of answer my question. What are we voting on something
No.
today? We're just kind of giving them
Yeah.
feedback. So again, who does approve this if there is an approval process or?
Planning and building.
So it would go to planning and building next? Okay, thanks.
To me, there's really a huge difference in sound. You can't compare with the pickleball, any of it, I don't think, Killian. That is so incessant and goes on for an hour and a half and it doesn't have any quiet period. So.
Can I ask you, and again, thank you so much for your presentation and for coming back this month. We really appreciate it. Can you tell us if you have explored some other areas, like Commissioner Brzezowski had mentioned, if you looked at River School or at any of the other parks that are in this area, just to know that you have sort of looked into them and what the responses were?
Yes, we have. Our reason for veering away from the school itself was because we wanted the public to have access to it as well. We wanted this to be something for everyone to experience if they chose to. I also wanted to mention, we do have ways to potentially mitigate the sound. That's by putting rubber rings at the bases of them, potentially putting like an epoxy or enamel over them as well. So once installed, there are ways for us to sort of mitigate it if it does become more of an issue. But yes, we have looked, and we're open to other locations too.
That's kind of my question is, look, when we were there last time, that particular spot sits at the bottom of an amphitheater. It kind of goes up to that house. So I guess my question is, even in that park, is there any other place that might make a little more sense that doesn't quite amplify the sound up the hill? Because I know what you're saying, Sarah, I kind of agree, but if it was me and I lived in that house and at 2 a.m, some drunk teenagers decided to do a rock concert out there, I don't think I'd be very happy, however long it went. And, that's kind of the reality of stuff. So maybe within that park, there's another place or another location in the city, I don't know.
Have you explored any other locations there? I know when we met there last month, we sort of looked at a couple of others. Can you share any other spots sort of in that park that perhaps you've looked at?
We have talked with Justin a little bit. We are happy to move it amongst the park, wherever that is. We talked about closer to the playground, even spacing them out. It is an ensemble. We would, potentially like to keep it together, but we're not set on that. There's also a trail walkway. We kind of were brainstorming about that space as well. But we are open to other suggestions amongst the city.
Is the room near the play structure that you were just mentioning, maybe to the, I guess it would be the south end of the play structure? Is there room, and are there as many homes in that area? I'm sort of off my memory, I'm not recalling a lot of
Thinking by the
homes.
stop sign there that, because there's a house right across the street. from
There's the
there.
house right across, right on, Uniborough,
Might be,
right
yeah.
there. But is there anything sort of as you're going even further south, are there any homes that,
There's one home at the corner of Camino del Monte and Unipro, and that would be, if we pushed it further south, my thought was possibly moving the picnic table, like right directly adjacent to the playground, by the, I don't know what you call it, but you hang on and slide across.
like a zip line?
Yeah, and it kind of tucks in a little bit, it'd be farther away, and I feel like some of the noise would be further away from the house, kind of on a diagonal, and some of that noise would just drop off down the ravine of like Second Avenue.
Okay.
Just kind
Is it possible to go visit one of the schools? It sounds like there's a couple of schools on the peninsula that have these installations. I'm wondering what the,
We
why
can't
we can't go do that.
a field trip out of town. That's not, we can't do that. And then also, it's really hard to get into to the schools because there's just the safety stuff. We talked to the principal at Monte Vista, and we weren't getting a lot of traction on that.
Okay.
This is a totally off the wall, but what even about something downtown like Diefendorf? I mean, that's noisy anyways, and you would get a ton of kids. Is that totally off, or is there just not space, or?
I'm not certain about this, but when we were discussing it, Devendorf Park was one of the first ones we were working on. And I believe we were sort of told that Devendorf Park, they don't want to put in any permanent fixture or equipment or exercise gyms or anything such thing. They just want to keep it as is. So we did consider Devendorf. Thank you for asking.
I think that's likely.
We did also look into Paula Corona on the Rancho Cañada side near Me Earth. But that's Monterey Regional Park District, and that they were open to it, but with everything they're doing with the river restoration project, it would probably be like years for that to be accomplished. So we also looked out as far out as Paula Corona too.
So you can hear we have some hesitation because of all of the pickleball and the noise issues we've had with our courts here. So we're hopeful that we sort of don't run into that again. You had mentioned that there's things that you can do to mitigate sound. Are you putting them on top of the little devices that you're using too? Like, is there something you can, like some sort of a foam?
That's
that if
another option as well. A third
Okay.
option would be to soften the mallets.
Okay.
They're already pretty soft, but we could do that as well as a third
Okay.
option.
So there are things that can be
To me,
done.
it's really not quite that big a problem because it's not going to be continuous the way something like pickleball or tennis or a game. And Carmel's not totally quiet, you know, trees are being cut and houses are being built and there's traffic and stuff. So it would be interesting to be able to hear them again, but to me, it's not quite that big an issue.
You're not concerned about
Pickleball is unique, you know, it has kind of a high sound, the better players, the louder it is, and so if you just had beginners all the time, it'd be okay.
Yeah, I mean, all good points, and I think what we're trying to do here is also just explore the unintended consequences, right? One of my concerns is what if somebody goes over there in the middle of the night and starts playing it? And there's nothing gonna stop somebody from taking out a wooden mallet or whatever they have.
Could have a little notice on it.
That will stop somebody. I don't think so, So again, I think it's just kind of raising all, the universe of options that we need to think about here.
But just like pickleball, that would be against the law to be in the park after dark. So that would be, and that's different than calling the police on pickleball players. That is against the law for causing a public nuisance.
Are there park hours, Justin?
Yeah, they're posted.
Is it?
It's like
Okay.
it's sunrise to sunset.
Okay.
Is the group aware of any installations that are in a public space that if we can't go as a commission to visit, that we could go individually to visit? I just think it's really hard to approve something related to music and sound, which is a great idea, without having examples to being able to actually hear or experience what it would be like.
We're not aware of any in this region that are not associated with schools. There are many parks in Southern California that have instruments of this type and that are connected to playgrounds as they would be here. There's also at Felton Discovery Park a very different type of experience. It's a very large instrument. It's really meant for to be both visual and really adult size. So there's nothing that we know of on the peninsula that's in a park, in a public setting like this. The closest would be in Southern California.
So I'm actually going to LA this weekend, so I'm kind of curious.
We could certainly send some examples that we.
Send me a link to some places, and if it's close, I'll go over there.
And do you have something that you had mentioned, was it YouTube, that you could play on your phone in the microphone just to get a sense, something that's sort of more continuous so we can get a better sense?
I'll grab that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then Shari, I believe you had something to say?
Yes, I just have a question or maybe suggestion. Have you looked at, or is it even possible at Forest Hill Park? Because they are already doing theater. There's Forest
Theater?
Forest Theater. Since they already are doing musical and all that, music there.
Yeah, I think the concern with Forest Theater was the potential for interfering with performances and wanting to make sure that that space is preserved for those who are experiencing the performances inside the theater.
Okay.
Or at the theater.
And another suggestion in other cities, what we would do sometimes, like, little projects, we would do a pilot project. So if you do a pilot project and like you would allow people to use it and hear the music, so at least maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks or a month, then you would have a sense of really what it would sound like in that specific location. I'm not sure if that's something that can be done, some sort of temporary pilot project. So,
Do they allow you, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Do they allow you to do anything like that where you can sort of borrow the equipment for a month or something, just to get a sense of?
So unfortunately, the instruments would be coming from Georgia, and so that would be complicated to do. We could think about, in conjunction with Public Works, some sort of temporary installation and then a permitted installation to follow. We would want to work with the city, and also safety is always going to be a concern with this. So with any sort of temporary installation, you want to be sure it's still as safe and sound as possible, even if it's not yet put in fully into the ground. But that's certainly an option that we've discussed and we would continue to discuss with Public Works.
Okay, thank you.
So I do have here the website from the company. It is an American company called Free Notes, and there you can hear all of the different ones. So
Thank you.
these are the mushrooms.
Of course, those are really loud for us here compared to what would be outside and distance of a whole lot.
Full volume with it on. Just this is the That's the tenor tree. And here are the butterflies. The flowers. And there's one more. So those are the collective ensemble, all the different ones together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any comments about that? Maybe, anyone else? No. Maybe we can take it to public comment. Thank you so much. We're going to see if there's any public comment, if you want to just take a seat for a moment. Thank you. Is there anybody that would like to make a comment? Hello.
Hi, my name's Kelly Schmidt. I'm the Executive Director at Carmel Youth Center. And I know you all have to think about neighbors, but we deal with the kids, and the kids would truly enjoy this. They have had so much education with the bird houses and the Braille wall, and music isn't always in schools, and they don't always get to have music at home. So we take a lot of kids there during camp. Like right now we have about 50 kids in our program. And in the summer we go to that park about twice a week. So I just see the disguised learning and the joy and what it could really benefit to those kids. So my heart's for the kids. I'm there for the community. But it is a very gentle sound. I know what you just heard sounded very loud and a little obtrusive, but it's a very mellow, gentle sound that they really would get a lot of benefit just through the arts and that disguised learning and the joy of not just running around a park, but actually learning and experiencing things. So I just want to let you know that on behalf of the Youth Center, we really support this. And it would really give our children in our community a lot of joy. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Kelly.
You.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Celestial. I am also representing the Carmel Youth Center today. I am one of the teachers, and as you've heard today in the presentation, one of the things that they have mentioned is how the musical instruments would spark curiosity. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to take our children to the Forest Hill Park for a day outside, and a lot of them circled around where they were going to have those musical instruments. Obviously, we are not tied to the project itself, so there were a lot of questions that were asked, but they're also, our kids are very engaged when it comes to music. They have a lot of energy. Sometimes it's hard at the center to keep them calm and collected, but when there is music involved, it does calm them down a lot. And I, like my executive director have stated, I too support this project. I have worked in different school districts, not here in the peninsula, but across the country that have the same musical instruments. And I can tell you, the sound is not that bad depending on the kind of tools that they will be using to play the instruments with. I speak also personally as a person who loves music. It does create a different avenue for navigating, emotions, but also just being more centered with how fast life is. As you grow older, life does get a little bit harder and it does move a lot faster. But when there is music, there is an outlet for, not just the children, but the adults to be able to center themselves and kind of enjoy life a little bit more in the surroundings around them. And so again, my name is Celestial, and I am really proud of the project that Leadership Carmel has done. I know this is not the first project they've worked on. They've also worked on a ton of different projects that have benefited the youth, and I strongly stand behind their project as well with promoting this in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that thoughtful comment. Appreciate it. Hi, Cindy. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Mishi, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Cindy Lloyd. I applaud Leadership Carmel for doing projects that benefit Carmel, benefit the residents, and benefit youth. However, I had some concerns about this project, and Commissioner Ruda and Commissioner Brzezowski voiced them all for me, because having sat through so many of the pickleball meetings, and I know it's a different sound and it's a whole different presentation, it's still sound. And sound repeatedly in your home, not being played by your own children or your family members, can become an irritation. And I didn't think about it until just a few minutes ago, but if you have more than one instrument, you could have kids on all of those, and kids like to make a lot of sound and they beat things really hard. But at any rate, it is a concern of mine that it is a park and it will create sound nonetheless. And then having the mallets attached, as Commissioner Ruda pointed out, somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe it is illegal, but they still will do it, will get out there and play it. I think it's just maybe a premature project for the park. And I think the kids can learn a lot about nature and trees and everything else without playing musical instruments, but it was up to you. Thank you very
Cindy.
much.
We appreciate your comment. Thank you. Is there anybody else in chambers that would like to make a comment? Or anybody online, Yvette?
Chris Campbell, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I am a fan of music and a fan of children, and I've spent many, many happy afternoons at Forest Hill Park with my grandchildren. And I think this idea could be charming in Palo Corona or in some place where there's no one living close by. And I'm a little, I'm assuming that the forester actually spoke to the principal at Monte Vista, but I'm sort of skeptical that the Forest and Beach Commission wouldn't be able to take a field trip to somewhere where there's a whole set of these instruments installed, and you could get a band going and see what you think about the sound. Because I do think that the point that was made, I'm trying to remember which commissioner, about maybe it was Commissioner Ross, that the amphitheater effect and the way that the sound lifts in a way is enhanced a bit by the shape of the land. It's really something to think about. And my grandchildren are wonderful, but when facing something like this, I don't think they'd be thinking about contemplative harmonies. They'd be thinking about having a wonderful time beating the bejesus out of the mushrooms. And I think you really need to think long and hard and have a way to actually hear what this will sound like before you support something like this, as well-intentioned as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your comments. Does anybody else have that?
No one at this time.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Okay. Does anybody else have any comments after that? So it sounds like, I think the majority of us would like to hear it, whether we can go to a place to hear it or get a better sense. So I think at this point, am I getting that people aren't comfortable with moving forward until we've done that? Is that?
I would be very comfortable moving forward, because having grown up in Carmel, and Cynthia, I'm kind of surprised at your comment, because there was noise of all sorts of noises. We didn't expect everything to be quiet, so that we, older folks now, were worried about, I don't think it would be so frequent. It's so different than pickleball. I don't think you can compare it to the noise of pickleball at all. So to me, we ought to be thinking about our children a little bit more.
Okay.
I guess my comment is I love the idea of this project. It's not like I don't want to see this happen. I think it's great. What I'd like to see, even besides hearing it, because I'm not sure, even at full throttle, it would change my mind that that's probably where it is the wrong location. So what I'd like to see before I could move forward is exploring other locations within Forest Hill even, or some kind of, the sound mitigation, or, I don't know, is there a sound mitigating wall you could put behind it? And I know that might be too obtrusive or something, but is there something that another place in the park that would be more appropriate? But I love the idea. It's not like I hate this. I'd love to see it move forward. But you can hear from just our reticence that, I think we've got to address this, or, as Cindy said, and I think Neil said, there's just some unintended consequences. The last thing you want is 6 months from now, the neighbors complain and come and we have to rip it out or move it. And that would be even worse. So I'd love to see us find the right place for this, hopefully in that park, but somewhere in the city, because I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Yeah, it's not pickleball, but it is at that frequency. And we have to just kind of be thoughtful about it, right? I would love to hear it. At the end of the day, playing it on an iPhone, through a microphone here, unfortunately doesn't do it for me. And so, I'll reiterate, I'm driving down to LA tomorrow. Find me some places, I don't have a problem driving and going to listen to it. That will certainly help. So that's my feedback, and I agree with Commissioner Ross. Are there alternative locations? I love the idea, I'll reiterate that.
Commissioner Brzezowski?
I think I'll echo what's been said. It's really important to me to hear it. I think when we talk about introducing sound into a public environment, it's incumbent upon us to know exactly what that sound is. So I would say that first and foremost. I hope that the reason these aren't all embedded in the interior of schools is because they are loud and it's a problem, the noise is a problem. But I would like to try and see one also. I would echo, I actually love the idea. I love everything about Harmony Habitat. I just wonder if this is the best and right location. And could we be exploring other locations? I'll go back to the school, the elementary school. Maybe, I don't know if there's a space at the Carmel Youth Center, if there's interest there. Are there other places, or is Commissioner Ross said, even within the lower Forest Hill Park that might be better suited than in the center of the amphitheater?
So Commissioner
I'd like to,
Brzezowski.
I will personally commit to following up with the schools in Monterey that have these. Even if we can't go as a group, I'll personally take that initiative to try and go see one.
So did you and Neil go to the school?
No.
You didn't go?
No.
Okay, I must have misunderstood. Okay.
No, so I brought like I said, I brought a cymbal. My wife's the drummer, so
Yes.
I brought a cymbal on a stand. And we went
Okay.
over and tried, and I know, it's not apples to apples, right?
Right.
But we wanted to try to get an understanding of what it was like. And we went there at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. It was very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And thus it was very loud because that was the only sound that you heard.
Okay. I'm surprised that there's nothing, even from the local school, that could be brought, so we could have had a better sense of it, some sort of a video that we could show, just so we can see if everybody's playing, what that sounds like. But I think I share the same concerns. It sounds like a great project, it really does.
And that was part of our issue is I had just gone to take my son, me and my wife had went to tour the school because that's where our son's gonna end up going to school. So we met the principal and that's where I saw the instruments and I knew oh, look, there they are. So I was talking with Catherine and we were really trying to get in there on a Saturday. And because it's all locked down, especially as the preschool area, the TK, the kindergarten, and
So you can't access it on the weekends?
no,
You can't?
No.
Okay.
unless you jump the fence.
Okay.
Are they,
So
is
River,
the
you
school
can-
open though, Justin, to go during the week? You think they'd let
You
us
have
in?
you have to make an appointment. I don't know.
I mean,
It's in
we
elementary
can make an
school,
appointment,
that-
I'd go.
Oh, it's summertime maybe.
I can't imagine they wouldn't allow visitors to come see an installation, but perhaps I'm wrong.
It's just getting a hold of, we weren't able to get.
Is that something that we could do following the, Brown Act, that no more than two of us would go in groups?
Yeah,
Is that something that we could do so that?
Yeah, we can figure out, reach back out to, because now it was school time before, now it's summer, so there might be some leeway.
Okay, is everybody comfortable with that then, that maybe we make a field trip beforehand?
I am happy to provide the principal's email and contact information.
That'd be great.
If anyone wants to arrange that. And then I was gonna say, the only reason I didn't film a bunch of children playing all at the same time is because they weren't my children, and I didn't wanna film them. So that was the only reason, I just did only my son in the video.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so should we make that our next thing that we're going to do then? Okay. So, I do apologize, you'll probably have to come back one more time, but if we can set that up, and if you could please give Justin or Yvette the contact information so we can go ahead and get a hold of the principal at your school, that would be great.
Could we also just add to the action point of identifying other spots within the park? That's also a next step?
Yes.
Because for me, even hearing it,
Yeah.
probably won't change my mind about where it's at.
And we can probably do that with Justin. We can arrange that as an entire group to go back. So I think, is that going to be our next? I'm not sure if we need to take a vote for this, or we can just, as a group.
I think we'll all have discussions and we'll
Okay.
see how we're gonna revisit this.
Okay, you can reach back out to us. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Tamara, I would
Yes.
just include in the exploration of alternate locations.
That's what
both
we were
within-
just talking about. Mhm.
Correct, not just within the park, but are there other potential areas within the city as well?
Right, right.
Like Cherie, I think, mentioned the Forest Theater area, which has some beautiful open spaces also.
They were concerned that children might play with those if there's a play going on, because it's hard to stop them from playing. So that could be a concern there, but there certainly are some other places, though, that we could also look at. Okay, so, yes? Sure.
We really appreciate your consideration and your feedback. And we do have to respond to some of our potential donors and sponsors and grant requests. So I'm just trying to feel out what kind of response that we're giving them at this time.
I don't think that we're ready to give you an answer yet. I think we all feel very hopeful and positive, but I think we need to have a better sense of what it would actually be like and to get a better sense of the location. So I think at this point, we can't give you a definitive answer. And I would imagine we probably would need to wait until the next meeting before we're able to do that.
But you could have maybe contributions. You could say if this works.
Right, okay, yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
But let's get the site visit as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll absolutely have it done in the next couple of weeks before the next meeting, and we can bring you back then. So I'm sorry this is taking a couple of extra steps, but we just want to make sure that it's the right location and that we're giving it its due diligence. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Okay. So probably just Justin, did you want to go ahead then and we'll have our hearing at this point? Did you want to move on to our hearing and the
Yes.
orders of business?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all again.
I want to thank Leadership Carmel for coming again.
Thank you so much. So our next order of business will be to consider the conditional release of a stop order at Mission Street, 3 northeast of 10th Avenue. And Justin, if you want to go ahead and give us a...
Thank you, Chair Mickey. This item is to consider the conditional release of a stop work order issued on May 11th, 2026, and require this is my recommendation, require the property owner to pay $651 for the stop work order investigation fee, double the permit fee, $1,396, and $31,600 for the depreciated value of the trees after the damage, totaling in $33,647. The background for this item, in March 18th, 2026, I was called out to the site. The site was located at Mission Street, 3 northeast of 10th, by the building official to discuss a retaining wall. On site, we met with the neighbor to the south, Mr. Jerome Politzer, and his consulting geotechnical engineer from Haron Kucinich, and the property owner, Mr. Efrain Correa. They were discussing the wall. I wasn't really as much involved in that, and then we got down to the tree, and I stated my concern about the wall and the tree, and just wanted to make sure that the tree wasn't infringed upon. And I did notice some cut roots at the time, but they were smaller and kind of buried within the soil embankment. On May 4th, later, I got contacted by the neighbor again about them digging out for the retaining wall and cutting the roots. And when we showed up, the root cutting was much more advanced and serious than we had seen the first time. Roots up to 4 inches were cut within 3 to 4 feet of the tree, and I can't tell when, possibly when the original excavation happened. I believe that's what the neighbor told us, that the house was being built, but the initial excavation for the property was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So while they had been cut for a long time, they were further exposed, so even closer to the tree, and even going that much further now, if they put the wall in, that's even less root and sinker roots to hold the tree up. After talking with the building official and the building inspector, that the property was red tagged on May 11th for violation of no permit for cutting of roots within over 2 inches or over, violation of the municipal code, excavation within 6 feet of the tree, and just the conditions of approval of the building permit of not protecting trees overall because there was a tree in the deck, oak tree that's dead. I was unable to receive a report from my consultant in time, so the valuation was done by staff. And the preliminary site assessment, another caveat, the preliminary site assessment performed by the previous city forester, the tree was not on it. So I don't know if that was an idea or an excuse from the property owner, but it was not listed to be protected, but it was clearly within 5 feet, 3 to 5 feet of the property line. So my recommendation is to remove the tree, or have the property owner remove the tree at the expense and discretion of the tree's owner, the neighbor to the south, and any other cost associated with replanting associated with that permit be covered by the property owner.
Okay. Okay, I see that the neighbor property owner is here. Is the builder? I don't see anybody else.
I don't see him. I didn't
They
see
aren't
him.
here. Are they online? That you know of, Yvette? Is there anybody online to represent them?
They're not online.
They're not online, okay. Perhaps we can start then with the property owner. Would you like to come up and?
Thank you, Commissioners, staff, and Chair. I'm Jerome Politzer, and we've owned the residence to the south of the developer's project for 28 years. And I just wanted to clarify, I think what I heard earlier is that the recommendation is that the property owner, me, pay for the removal of the tree.
When I say property owner,
I'm the victim here.
Yeah.
We're the ones that, we have done nothing wrong.
I think he meant the builder,
Well, it's
developer.
important to be clear on those things because what's happened here is, I've introduced the developer to the neighbors. I gave them bottles of wine. We've done everything we can to be good neighbors.
Right.
And all he's done is he's disregarded the permit, disregarded the laws, disregarded the rules, covered up the roots that he cut. He clear cut this property line, and in doing so, he not only cut the roots of one tree, but also the roots of several other trees on my property and tore them down. But this is, for those of you who are out there, if you can only imagine, and I submitted this earlier, he clear cut the entire perimeter, the entire property line, 15, 25 feet down. I don't know any tree that could survive that. So it's clear that he caused this and that he should pay to have it remedied. I don't think I should. I want to make sure that's very clear. So could you restate that for me?
Yeah, we'll make sure. You're the neighbor, and he was speaking about the property owner. So he was talking about the person who is doing the building and the developing. You are the neighbor.
Okay.
So we'll just make sure that
the
the two
long as the
positions
developer has to-
are clear.
Yeah.
You both own the properties,
the
but
property
you're
owner
you're the neighbor.
Because the property in question is the one in the title, so that property owner is.
It's the developer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, again, we can, I'm Jerome.
Right, you're Jerome, okay.
Yeah, and we're the residents next door. We've done nothing other than try to be good neighbors here. I was born in Carmel. I mowed the lawn in Diefendorf Park in high school. I've done everything I can to be a good Carmelite. We like trees. But this developer has, damaged my trees beyond repair, and it's all out of his, selfish, ill-designed, intentional actions of cutting the roots and causing the damage that we saw there today. And it wasn't like he was subtle about it, but this, and then he, backfilled it so we couldn't see it until the forester and I went out there and went through and looked at the actual roots. And now we have opinions of several arborists that the trees need to be removed. They're a danger, it's a public safety danger. It's removing the tree not just from my property, but also from your Carmel, from the canopy of the trees in Carmel. It's going to be changed, and it's all because what this developer did. And I would like that whatever you can do to keep the developer and make him accountable for his unpermitted acts, that's what I ask of you today. And if there are any questions that you have, I'd be glad to answer them as best I can. But we have, it's pretty clear if you look at the cut. I mean, there's no ambiguity here.
Okay, and it's Mr. Politzer?
Politzer,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Politzer while he's here?
I had a question.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
curious, digging out a trench like that, because I've done a basement too. Did you notice when they were digging, how they were digging out? Was it a bulldozer or some kind of caterpillar digging the dirt out? Was it people using hand tools or anything like that?
They prepped the site with bulldozers, and then they did soldier piles down. American Drilling out of San Jose was down, and they had all sorts of equipment and slurry seals, but they drove piles down 25 feet. That wasn't by hand. That was all cut with machines the whole way.
Right.
It was when we got to the property line retaining wall that they'd promised they would build to keep my property from sliding into theirs, because they built down a whole second-story basement, light well and everything. It was then where we discovered, and the roots being cut because they'd been covered up, and I imagine they damaged the roots back 2 years ago. And if you look at the picture of the soldier piles, it actually indents at my tree. I mean, it's as though they were targeting the tree's roots, and that wasn't done by hand. That was done by big machines.
Right, so mechanical. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Not for Mr. Politzer.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to open it up to public comment.
Thank you
so much for telling us your story. Do we have anybody in chambers that would like to? Hi, Cindy.
Hi there. Chair, members of the commission and city staff, I forgot to mention you last time. For the record, my name is Cindy Lloyd. I live in Carmel Woods in the sphere of influence, but I too was born and raised in Carmel, although I didn't mow the lawn in Devendorf Park. I rode horses down to Hodges Stables. Up in our area, we had a similar situation where there was one neighbor who was a lawyer who encroached upon the neighbor's properties on both sides. And until he put the property on the market, he wouldn't do anything about it. So he had to remove the greenhouse that he put there. And now the neighbor on the other side is excavating down to put in a shop on his property. And I asked him, I said, what's all that cement over there? That looks like a foundation. He said, that was the foundation he put on my mother-in-law's property. So it happens everywhere, and I really support the Politzers in their position because it's no fun having somebody ruin your property. So thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there anybody online, Yvette?
No one at this time.
Would like to make a comment? Okay, we'll bring it back.
Looks like Chris.
Chris, go ahead. Chris, did you want to do a public comment? You just need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I wanted to echo Cindy Lloyd's comments, and I was so distressed when I read Justin Ono's report about this, and I'm even more distressed after hearing what Mr. Politzer said. This seems like a deliberate attempt to not only violate the law, but to cover it up. And to me, what it really brings to the fore is the necessity for having a really carefully crafted policy on the part of the Forest and Beach Commission about how to deal with these things and how to set damages. I do think that there needs to be a way to value the trees that were damaged and will have to be removed. But I think that we need to address the cost of replacing those trees. I mean, on the Pulitzer property, I think that the developer who did this should pay to replace all the trees that were damaged as a result, and on the property that he purchased as well. And I hope you'll put into high gear your efforts. I know you're working on it now to come up with something that the public can see and something that will put everyone on notice that this is how we're going to value the trees. These are the things, maybe additional damages, if something appeared to be deliberate, as this was, so that it can really be part of what people have to evaluate and look at when they decide to develop a property. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you for mentioning that we are working on this right now. We do have a committee that's looking at this right now. So I appreciate that. Is there anybody else who wanted to make a public comment?
No one else.
Okay, thank you.
Jerome Pulitzer again,
Hi, Jerome.
Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify my earlier comments regarding the spruce or the cedar tree and the fact that the developer did not put that on any of his surveys or any of his plans, even though it's at the property line. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. I do know that the tree would throw shade on his light well for his basement. I do know that that tree would throw shade on his solar panels. Why he didn't include that on his surveys or any of his plans or any of the other documents, it's something that should be incumbent upon the developer to do that, unless for some reason they wanted to eliminate that tree.
Yeah.
And so that probably explains a lot of the other things that happen subsequently, as far as if the tree's not on the plans, it's kind of hard to track. But as we all saw today on the walkabout, it definitely is there. The roots are definitely cut, and it's definitely a danger and a safety hazard, not only for my family, but for the community at large. So I just wanted to add that clarification. It was the developer that did not put any of that location of the cedar tree on his plans, and he probably should have. Thank you.
You should have. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we can probably all agree this is a very egregious situation for those of us who went out there to take a look at it. It is disappointing that the developer isn't here, or hasn't made any public comment. That is disappointing in itself. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make about?
I think there's somebody else that wants to make.
Is there another person?
Rami?
Does Rami?
Did you still want it open for public comment?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I think she might have just come in right after, but we'll go ahead and hear her.
Rami, go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to make comment on this. In addition to stiffer penalties that are more hefty than just the cost of doing business, this harkens to the idea that everybody in Carmel needs to be a citizen scientist and walk around with lenses looking closely at all work that's done and ask questions. Does this look right? Is it, have they gotten permission to do this? And just, be super, super diligent about what people are doing. Just because there's a permit posted, just because, there's plans and people walking around looking important, does not mean that everybody's following the rules. So I would hope that the commission would really, really seriously think about some stiff penalties for this, so people think twice. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rami. I appreciate it.
I have many questions, but you want to go first? Go ahead. So my questions are a little more about, for Justin a little bit, how you came to these appraised values. I know without seeing some of the backup math, I saw what you quoted, how you kind of used.
Well, the math was in the report.
I know, but where did you come up with the number of 21,000?
The guide to, so it's called the Guide to, Appraiser's Guide to Plan Appraisal.
So you're talking about these?
Yes.
So like line L10, basic reproduction cost, where does that come from?
The formula. It's already built in. Like, the only thing I'm editing are the condition, functional limitations, and external limitations. Everything past that is part of the formula.
I'm just so I'm clear, how does it know how much a tree costs?
You get another book called the Species Guide, and it gives you the valuation. Every tree, there's all these trees, and then there's all these regions. So we're in the Northern California coastal influence, and it says it'll have numbers 1 through 4, and this was pretty much the most expensive one because coastal is usually higher, so it was from there. And then also, I double checked that with the Cal Poly's website Select Tree, where you can search all the trees, and on top of that, they give you the caliper size. They provide it, and that lined up with what the Guide to Plant Appraisal said.
Does it, just again, this is for my information, does it basically assume we're trying to replace the value of an existing mature tree? Is that kind of what it tries to look at? Meaning
Yes.
It's not a value of replanting, it's the value.
It's the landscape value of the tree and the cost to reproduce through the trunk formula method.
And then I had a question, I just wanted to make sure of the math. So on, I don't know how to say it, it's on page 19 of the minutes. It's this chart that talks about the tree valuation after proposed construction, and it talks about appraised value of the cedar still having an appraised value of 6,700.
Yes.
But it looks like from your math that you kind of took that out and said it really has no value, or how?
Because it needs to be removed.
So I just wanted to make sure, because it's still listed as $6,700 appraised post-disturbance on this, but you really said it's got zero value.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to describe that even though it retains value, it still needs to be removed, so
It needs to be removed, so it's been zeroed out.
any other value is still lost.
I just wanted to make sure, because it's kind of
That was-
confusing,
that
because
was
it
the
says it's
question
got a
I had
value.
too.
I wasn't
Really
prepared,
doesn't.
I wasn't planning to have to write this report, so it was a little.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Not as clear as, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Can I ask, is the developer said anything through this whole type of process? Is there any remorse? Is there any oops?
Just mostly
radio silence?
Mostly arguing.
What are we able to do as far as the stop work order? What is the next step in this, process?
If you make the recommendation to approve the fees, then we can lift the stop work order conditioned upon payment of fees, and then you can also condition the removal at the discretion, timing, contractor, everything of Mr. Polster's choosing. Because not just that it needs to be removed, but also we don't want them coming in with Joe Schmo tree service that drops the tree on the house anyways.
Can we condition it that he remove it and replace it?
Yeah, and I think that'll be part of the permit. When we fill the permit out, we'll make them put the replant requirements on the permit.
Can we keep a stop work order in place until that's been accomplished?
I think that once everything is settled, I don't know, I don't think so. I think,
do we have up to 3 months? What's
yeah, so it'd be up
our-
to 3 months, so.
Okay. So we could state up to 3 months then to get this done, and
I'd have to check with everybody if the terms of, I think that we should just, normally we would just approve it and remove the stop work order. I don't have any backing in terms of holding it up like that, because they're gonna wanna get it done as fast as possible.
so is it removed as soon as all of the work and the fees have been paid? If that's the direction that we're going in?
They'll have to pay for a permit as part of the fees.
Okay.
So once the permit will be issued, then they can do that.
And if there is a fine, they would have to pay for the entire fine?
Yeah.
Permit, okay. Okay. Do you have a question?
I was just going to comment, so I was just reading the 1228-210, the suspension of permit. It says, grounds for suspension of any permits for a period of up to 90 days, said period of time to be determined by the Director of Forest, Parks and Beach. So it sounds like there is some leeway, I guess, that you can determine how long that suspension is. I had some more questions though also.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Commissioner Burling, I don't know if you had any more questions, or Commissioner Brzezinski? She's got her hand up, so maybe go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Commissioner Brzezowski, do you want to go first?
I just had one question about the cypress that was left out of the report, Justin, that you mentioned when they did the site inspection for the original construction. The tree was left out. Was it left out because it's not within the property boundaries? Like, is that tree within the parcel, or is that tree on the neighbor's property? I'm just curious.
It's on the neighbor's property, but usually it's best practice because of this kind of thing. That's why, I think someone had asked the question of why I included neighboring trees on preliminary site assessments. It's this exact reason. So just in case we're assessing not just the impacts on site, because the impacts of grading like this can travel off site as well. So I can't say why it wasn't, it was the previous forester, so I don't know.
Okay, so the cypress that you're requesting, I completely agree this is egregious, so don't take me wrong here. I was just trying to get clarity because I remember in the past, like, these become very tricky situations for the city, right? Because I just want to make sure we have the authority to require him to take down a tree on somebody else's property that he damaged. Like, is that's within our jurisdiction to do that? That's all I'm clarifying.
Yeah,
That's why I'm asking.
There's precedent. With another one up on Guadalupe that I was actually involved with, so there is precedent.
Okay, I just remember we had that one case where we had a neighbor causing damage on someone's property, and the property owner ended up being financially responsible, not the neighbor who caused the damage, right? So it's more, if there's precedent, that's great to hear. Thank you.
And is it different, because I know that the one that you're referring to, Kelly, since there is work going on, and this also involves a stop work order, is that part of why it might be different?
Yeah.
And the circumstances are different? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I had a bunch of questions. First of all, I agree, this is egregious, and I'm saddened that this happened. And as you mentioned, this is a great example of why we need some, to reconsider the fines and suspension of work to prevent this kind of stuff. Because I feel like this is going down the path, given that he's not here, it seems like this is the path of, well, I'm just gonna pay the fine and move on and sell the house.
Right.
Which is unfortunate. So my first question has to do with the cedar. Do you feel like it can be planted in the same spot? And let me continue my question here and my thought here. If there's another spot on the property that it should go, I know I've heard concern from the neighbor about having a screen from the house. Does it make sense to require another tree to be planted there at their, determination to help screening their property from that property? And I wanted to kind of throw that out there because I don't know if that needs to be discussed or not, if that's an interesting idea or not.
Yeah, it's going from a vacant lot to a two-story house is definitely a shocker. And then losing that, there's all kinds of things to take into consideration, but I would definitely assume that you'd want to plant it at least near the same place. But that's also why I'm saying it's up to Mr. Paltzer as to where the replacement trees would go.
Okay. So do we need to, I guess my question then is, do we need to decide upon how many trees he gets to choose to ask that developer to plant? For example, he's definitely gonna replant a cedar tree on the property. If it can't go in that same spot, because that was kind of the screen, do we also want to say there will be another tree that we have them plant that's a tree that can screen the property? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can,
So that's something that we've been talking about. That's the mitigation planting.
yes.
So where we can, if they killed or taken out one tree, we can, require that they put 2 or 3 trees back.
Yeah.
In addition, is that something that we could also
Sure.
require? Okay,
Okay, good.
okay.
My other question was, looking at the oak tree on the developed property that's dead.
Yes.
That's a head scratcher to me also because the deck is constructed very close to the diameter of the tree. There was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches around the tree spacing wise. Clearly, there was not room given to that tree to grow and expand. Is your recommendation to require the developer to replace that tree in the same spot?
I just seeing what happened to that tree, I don't think I could, in good conscience, ask for a tree to be. Well, also, a tree replanted wouldn't be big enough to go all the way up through there. It would be really tricky. That would be, it would be either somewhere else on the site or an in lieu or something. I wouldn't be able to put that in the same place. It would be very difficult.
Okay. And I asked this question, and I want to hear everybody's opinion here. I'm thinking, I'm putting my nefarious hat on here, of course. Did the developer kill the tree because they wanted a deck that was unobstructed? And so that's kind of the question I'm throwing out to everybody. I'm really looking for guidance from all of you on that. What's your opinion on that one?
So I heard what you said, but I don't get the question. What's the question mark?
Would you consider having them replant in that spot exactly? Or not?
I wouldn't consider it in the same spot, but definitely to have a healthy big tree planted. I think the spot might not work for a tree. I don't know now.
No,
I think that perhaps we could even let the neighbor choose where they want it. But if we're able to do mitigation planting, just some of the things I'm thinking about as we're talking through this, for the tree that they've killed, I think that if we can do mitigation planting of perhaps 3 trees, that they have to put back 3 trees, they would have to remove the tree they've killed, plant 3 trees. I think we should do the maximum that we're able to do with the stop work order. If that's 90 days, I think we should do it for 90 days. And I would, your recommendation, I believe, of the fines and fees would be $33,647. If someone wants to check my math on that we would give them the maximum.
In terms of the replanting, are you talking about on the property being developed or on the neighbor's property?
On the neighbors, if they would like that.
Yeah.
But we also
As
have to,
mitigation planting.
but we also have to deal with the oak in the deck.
Right,
So that's-
right.
Okay.
So that is, how many trees do they have?
Why don't we?
Can we hear from
Yes,
the neighbor?
would you like to say something? Yeah. Mr. Pulitzer.
If it pleases, Madam Chair. I'm the victim here. I don't have any application pending before you. I think the most prudent course of action would be to, if you do require mitigations in the replanting of trees, let the neighbor, me, decide where those go, when they go, and how they go. As far as being not even a party to this, other than the victim, I don't know if you can even order that I install trees. And I just, I want to have trees. I just don't want to have the confusion be in the record that somehow you said that the victim has to
It's not you.
provide 3 trees on his property because of what the developer did off-site as part of his development in violation of the law.
No, yeah, it's, thank you for
I
asking that.
I just want to make sure
I
we're
just want
clear.
to, yeah, it's not you.
Yeah.
We are talking about what the developer has to do for you to
So long as it's
remove your
within my
tree.
discretion, as far as me being
And up to
required to
3
do
trees.
something in conformance with your directions today, I'm
Yeah,
we're ready to do that.
I really tried to put it in here that.
Thank you.
Anything,
Yeah,
anything that happens because of that tree is at his discretion.
Right,
So
absolutely.
I don't think even we should put a number out there. We
No,
should see
up
how
to
many
3
people-
trees that he would have to just.
Well, Justin, can I ask a question?
replace up to
I'm looking
3
at
trees.
code, so I want to understand, just in general. So the 33,000 and change, whatever it is, that's totally about the landscape replacement and the fees, right?
Yes.
So technically, what we're talking about for replacement of trees is a different thing, right? The money, this fee fund goes into, so I'm reading this, account to be used for reforestation.
Yes.
But it's not the specific replacement of trees on the lot.
No, that's.
That's a separate thing, right?
Separate.
So I guess that's my question, and it does say, in this case, that we may we may require an amount of money equal to the value of the lost trees to be deposited in a deposit account to be used for reforestation.
That's the fine, that's.
Could we say, we put the value, you need to put 3 trees worth into this fund that the Pulitzers could then use to,
If they would like
But
to.
that-
if they would like to.
The fund is not for private residents, that's what we use, the city uses to buy and maintain and plant trees. It's a city fund, so,
Those fines and fees go
Yeah.
to the city.
So is there, I guess we would have to be specific to Tamara's point about saying, replacement trees. How do we phrase it so that the developer becomes liable for replacing however many trees they want on their property? Can we do that?
yeah.
And what would that sound like?
So that is the mitigation planting that we were talking about. If somebody has taken down a tree, killed a tree, then we can have them replace that one tree with a certain number of trees. And it can be up to 3 trees. So if the neighbor wanted 1 or 2, and it's not being paid for by the neighbor, this is being paid for by the homeowner developer.
The developer.
Yeah, and so that's one thing. I have a question about the number of trees on the developer's lot right now. What are remaining that are alive?
Well, Justin, along with that, that's kind of related, is I think the Pulitzer said that there were trees in the front yard that were taken out as part of the permit process, possibly, and the 2 oaks were removed. Was there ever any requirement that any of that get replaced that you know of?
The ones in the front, one was a stump and one was a non-native. I have to look at the records on the requirements, and this all would be kind of covered in the final of the project. I would go out there, look at the density, look at the landscape plan, say this doesn't match.
So since they killed a tree on their own lot, can we have them do a replant or a mitigation planting on their own
Definitely,
property? So that's sort of what we want to consider too.
yes.
So
Because there's two trees that were damaged.
one on the neighbor's lot.
And one on
their lot.
yes.
So we've I've just kind of talked about a couple things I'm thinking about for the neighbor's lot. And for their lot, we can also do mitigation planting on their lot.
Yes.
Okay, do we know
If they want it.
how many trees that they have right now that are alive?
We need to see what the.
I have to go back out there.
You'd have to go back, okay. I only saw one, but,
Kelly has.
oh, okay. Kelly? Kelly, I'm sorry, would you?
Thank you. That's okay. I just had a comment that I completely agree that we want to be maximizing the penalties here, both financial and tree plantings, et cetera, for when we see this kind of egregious behavior. The question I just have is, we want to make sure we maximize the penalties, right? We also want to make sure that whatever we authorize is not appealable, that we don't like overstretch something that would, in the past, we've been given guidance, might end up being a civil matter as opposed to a city matter, where we could end up in the position of not being able to assess these penalties. I know, Justin, I asked this earlier, but it just makes me wonder if this is something where in the past, when we've had some complicated ones like this, our goal has been to have the maximum penalty that we're allowed to authorize and then we've gone and had that checked, like before we've actually then, we've continued some of these and come back and then given the maximum penalty in the following session. I think, Justin, if you've already checked this to make sure that we're within everything in our jurisdiction, I just want to make sure that we're not reaching into areas that would be appealable and that would end up causing the the developer owner to be relieved of some of the burden so that it does not land on the neighbor who's claiming he's the victim in this instance, right?
Anything's
Just to be clear.
appealable. Anything is appealable, and this one that I was saying the precedent did get appealed, but just because the developer didn't agree with the remediations.
Well, I think what Commissioner Brzezinski is also saying is, whatever we do, let's make sure we can defend it. So if it does get appealed, that we have something to stand on that's defensible, et cetera.
Yeah.
So mitigation planting, for example, is a way that we can punish. So perhaps, I mean, Justin, you would know better than me if there's a number. We've researched this, and I know 2 or 3 times is something that is commonly used, but that's a good point. We just want to make sure that we can actually use this. And Kelly, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we just need to make sure the language, as much as we can tie the penalties and mitigations to the developer's property parcel, I think the stronger ground that we're on, right? Because I think that when we start taking city actions requiring someone to do something on another person's parcel, I think that's where we get into the appealable territory. And what we wouldn't want to do is make judgments about trees that need to be taken down, I'm saying on the neighbor's property, right, where we've said those trees need to come down, and the developer somehow get off the hook for it, and then the neighbor ends up being responsible for it, right? I'm just trying to make sure, when we have the complexity of these cases, we just need to make sure that we're clear that it's 100% responsible on the developer property owner, and to the extent that we can make sure that the penalties are associated with their parcel, I think that helps us.
So we have,
At least I would say, just from the conversation,
Right.
when we've had to seek city attorney input on these kinds of things before, that's sort of the guidance that's come back.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we have asked that. So I think Kelly would like that to be restated. Is this something that is within our
I'm not quite clear what
jurisdiction?
we're all debating.
About planting. So we had talked about if we can ask that the developer, when the neighbor is ready, remove the tree, have to pay to remove the tree.
Yes.
And to have mitigation planting of up to 3 trees where the neighbor.
I think we keep away from a number and just kind of say
But if
mitigation.
a maximum, I think.
Mitigation planting would be assessed through the permit or something. I just don't know. Because I hear what Kelly's saying. If we're starting to say plant 5 trees on the neighbor's property, and also if the neighbor doesn't necessarily, everything needs to be at the discretion
If we
of the
say
neighbor.
up to 3 means.
I don't think there should be a
or-
number. I think there
Okay.
should be at the discretion of the neighbor.
Well,
That's challenging,
It
though.
doesn't have to be all,
What if they say that they want 5 trees, or what if they,
Then that's at the discretion of the neighbor. So I think that would be.
I think we have to be specific.
I think.
From a neighbor's standpoint, yes, please. I'm not really hearing. Maybe if it says something along the lines that at the discretion of the neighbor, up to 3 trees.
That's what-
That way you've got your
exactly.
ceiling of 3, which is comfortable based upon precedent. That way you've got discretion, so the neighbor doesn't have to put in 3 trees, the type of trees, those other things.
Right.
It could be 0.
Right.
At the end of the day, but that way it's clear, not really appealable, because it is clear and it's based upon precedent, and that moves this forward.
Correct. Thank you.
Jerome policy.
I'm glad you've given us your.
So do we want to add something, though? Say he only wants one tree, and then does the guy get away with only one tree, or don't we want some on his?
I would imagine so. So that's the next thing that we're talking about. So we talked about sort of what he would do for the neighbor's tree that he killed, now going to his tree. Did anybody happen to notice, did I just see one oak tree on the neighbors, or are there two?
There's a couple in the back.
There's two. Okay. So I would recommend a similar way of dealing with that we have the neighbor do mitigation planting also for the tree that he killed on his own property.
So here's the.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try to rephrase what I said earlier to see if I can make more sense. It'd be great if we can have Justin determine why the tree died. That would be the best thing. We don't have the developer here. Hear me out, hold on, hear me out. I don't want to stress you out.
No, but it's dead, it's.
Okay, my point is, it was a tree right in the middle of a deck, okay? My fear is, are we sanctioning people to kill trees that are in the middle of the deck, knowing that they will be able to have a tree planted somewhere else, and now they have a deck unencumbered by a tree? And maybe I'm worrying too much about this, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate in some regards. I want to kind of look at all the different options here. Here's this tree that was fairly mature. It was in the middle of this deck that's fairly prevalent on this newly developed site. Oops, it died. If we say, okay, you're going to replace it, but you're going to get to replace it in another location, are they going to go, great, because I wanted a unencumbered deck anyway?
You know, just this is, I agree, but I'm looking at that deck. They built around that with with seating all the way around it. You take that tree out, you're gonna have a pretty funky looking deck. I mean, they would have to rebuild the deck, and maybe that's what they're intending, but, and I think Justin's point is what size tree is gonna actually kind of fit in that hole to tell them it's gotta fit in that hole,
And to
it's
get
gotta
it in
be
there,
tall
because
enough.
there's a deck there now.
So I know what you're saying, but if they really, they would have to redo that whole deck to make it kind of make sense without a tree.
And
I think he just planted someplace on that property. I don't think we've ever specified.
the fine is not it's not just, they don't get to take the tree out. There's also the $9,000 fine for the loss of the tree.
So having them,
I was just gonna say, I think this circles back to a conversation we've had before the last time one of these came up, which is our tree fines are woefully out of date. And we should probably consider how do we get them increased, even if some of them are for egregious acts like this on an emergency ordinance basis, because there are jurisdictions around us that would levy $100,000 fines for this kind of thing. And right now, I think the challenge that we keep bumping into, Neil, I feel your pain, is that the fines to do this in our city right now are not high enough to mitigate the undesired behavior.
I would also throw out, Kelly, and I don't know if this is even something we could do, that there seems to be that there should be some kind of, for lack of a better word, a black mark against this developer that the city has, and that if he does this once, it's a warning. If he does it again, he can't develop here. You know, I'd love to see even something.
That's not part of our.
I know, but I'm just saying there's.
well, we do have some codes that would address that. So we do have codes, right,
Yeah,
Justin? There are codes. And there's certain things, and Kelly, I hear what you're saying, and Neil and I and Justin are on a committee, as you know, looking at all of this, and we've met with our attorney, and there's certain things that perhaps we can't do that other neighboring cities can do. So we are in the process. It's unfortunate we weren't done at quite this point. We're actually, I would anticipate we're going to be finished with this in the next month or two. But these are some of the things that we can do. We can do mitigation planting. We can have them plant more than what they killed or destroyed or took out. So we are sort of confined to these, few things that we can do. We can have the, stop work order stay for an extended period of time, up to 90 days. So I think right now, what can we do with what we have? Both on the developer's property and on the neighboring property. Any more thoughts? I mean, I would like to see them have mitigation planting on their own property too, especially since it sounds as though some other trees have also been lost in all of this. So can we maybe start to talk about what we might want to do?
So it sounds like we're all kind of unfortunately in agreement that we're not going to make them replant right in the deck there. Okay, fine. So are we talking about now, you got to replant that significant tree somewhere else on their property? I think that's, everybody's kind of
Yes.
doing the yes on that one.
On the developer's property.
On the developer's property. Any thoughts about having them plant an extra tree somewhere else also?
I would like to see them plant 3 trees. That's why I was trying to find out what's
I kind of
on.
understand this whole thing that happened with the
Yeah.
oaks. That were taken, the oaks they cut down that were on the Pulitzer's property that, though there was 2 oaks taken down several years ago, is that right?
That's correct.
So, I mean, to me, that also would be
Yeah.
nice to get replaced.
I would like to see them plant 3 trees on their own property, up to 3 trees on the neighboring property, as well as take the tree out that has died on the neighbor's property. They would, of course, have to remove their tree that's died on theirs, as well as the full fines of $33,647. Again, please, someone check my math. And a stop work order of 90 days, if we're able to do that.
Is there room on their property to plant 3 more trees? Like at least one significant to replace the oak tree?
Yeah.
Are you thinking like 2 lower canopy kind of thing?
Yeah, there was nothing in the front yard, right? There were no trees in the front yard.
And the neighbors,
Okay.
it looks like when they redid that new construction to the other side, planted, it looks like a pine. So that, it feels like there would be at least room for one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think the pine might have
Significant
been on the other
The next
neighbors.
one, yes.
The
It
next,
is.
the next one down.
It is,
Yeah,
but they have
There
similar
was no-
space in their front yard, it seems
Right.
like.
right.
Not much.
So that's sort of where I am with this. That's what I'm thinking. Does anybody else, do you feel comfortable with that?
I mean, I kind of
I think that
trending to that, yeah.
Okay.
The total of 3 trees is enough. We have never gone over that.
Yeah.
And if we want to start doing that, then that's a lot.
Because I think they only had
But
2
you could
trees.
say a specific, how many more do you want on your?
And theirs is up to 3, so we can just leave. He said up to 3. One side, we can, I think, give them a finite number, and for the neighbor, we can just say replant up to 3.
Okay.
And that's at the discretion of the neighbor.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with that? Okay. Are you comfortable with that, Harry?
Yeah.
Kelly, are you comfortable with
Yes.
that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Should I make this motion? It's been a while since I made a motion. Okay, I would like to make a motion that for the property at Mission Street, 3 northeast of 10th Avenue, that on the property of the developer, that we have them replant 3 trees as mitigation planting for the tree that was killed during construction. And on the neighboring property, that they remove the tree that was killed during construction, and that they replant up to 3 trees for a mitigation planting. And we recommend the full fine of $33,647, along with 90 days of a stop work order.
Could you just add up to 3 trees according to the owner's wish?
Yeah.
May I ask to supplement that motion by having it be at the discretion of the neighbor as to how many trees and as to the removal? It's right next to the foundation. I don't want them coming in the middle of the night and exploding the rest of my property.
Right.
Thank you.
Yvette, can we just add to the discretion of the neighbor, or do I need to restate that?
But the removal needs to be at the.
All of it has to be at the discretion of the neighbor. Can you add it? You got it? As a mouthful. Okay. Can we, that's my motion. Can we get a second?
I will second, yes.
Okay, thank you, Harry. Commissioner Burling?
Yes.
Commissioner Brzezowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Commissioner Ruda?
Yes.
Chair Mickey?
Yes.
Thank you, this motion is passed.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to the next. We have the May 2026 Foresters Report. Justin?
Can I ask if the director, Shari, could give hers first so I can run to the restroom?
You bet. Are you ready, Shari?
Sure.
Okay. And Shari will be giving us the April and May 2026 Public Work Director's Report. Thank you, Shari.
Thank you. So this report really, because we weren't able to address the April, so it's just a combination of April and, I'm sorry, May, actually. That's a correction. Okay, just starting with, I guess, for the Public Works Director, report. So as you know, might have heard, the city budget was approved for adoption on July 1st. And just a little caveat on that, previously there was.
Can you bring up the director's report, if you're able? Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Just, like a little caveat on that, previously there was some, I guess, forest maintenance operations cut, but then it was put back. So that is actually fully now back into the capital and operations budget. Then for recruitments, just, to give you a little overview, we are currently still ongoing with the recruitment for the project manager as well as the Public Works Director. We currently also have actually before 4, but now 5, including the Director, Project Manager, Permit Tech, and 2 maintenance worker, 1 for forestry and 1 for street maintenance. And then we had a successful Earth Day Arbor Day, and staff planted 2 pines at Devendorf Park in April. Then we did also May 30th evacuation drill. It's pretty successful, I would say. We have a good turnout from the residents, the volunteers, as well as other external agencies. And then Justin and Renee had attended an annual International Society of Arboriculture or conference at the end of April. Then moving along, I'm going to highlight just some in relation to the forests and beach, for the environmental one. The North Dunes project, so the ice plant removal is completed, and currently TOPS is working on removing the acacia trees there. So that's that. And then the Mission Trail Coastal Development permit was approved here in May. And so the planning department is gonna work on applying for the CEQA CAT exemption or categorical exemption for that one. One of the things that we would like to also let you know is that the adaptation pathway report has been finalized. It's actually on the city website. I believe that link was also sent to everybody. So they presented that last time to you guys. The comments were addressed, and so that was the final adaptation pathway report. The next one is the hazards policy. So EMC submitted the draft, and the staff is planning to take that here to Forest and Beach in July, and then in Planning Commission, hopefully in August 2026. So that's going to be in the agenda next month. We, what else? Not sure, maybe just for informational, plastic bag ordinance. It will be updated, and this is to include the farmers market, making sure there's that plastic bag ordinance implementation there too. Just FYI. Facilities, first, Murphy House, the dry rot repairs are done. The house has been fumigated, and, the painting is now in process. And then we also did some electrical work and floor updates at the Forest Theater. So that's for that. What else? And so then the street maintenance for the beach, we retarped the 11th Avenue erosion, added sandbags, and then we jetted some of the drain system in the area to make sure that works. What else? Okay, so that's for the street maintenance, and then for projects, for some of these beach projects. So I know this is important for the Forest and Beach. The stairs project were bidded. Unfortunately, all 5 bids had arithmetic errors, which I've never seen before. So they were all non-responsive. All of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've never had it before. I mean, maybe before I would have it projects in other cities like one, but this one, all of them.
So this was not a strategic error on our part in the
No.
information we gave to them. This was.
Yeah, because they calculate it by hand. So.
All of them?
All of them, yes. So.
Was it the calculation for all of them?
Yeah, so there's like a bid, the bid schedule, right? So they had errors in calculating the unit. The extension is the miscalculation. So unit times number of quantities. So it's like 10 times 20 is 200, right? They would put 300, something like that.
So are we giving them more time? To
No,
correct that?
so we work with the city attorney on that one, and according to the other cases, I guess, it just was rejected, all of them. And so we're rebidding right now.
And can they rebid?
They can rebid.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, it doesn't preclude.
I'm not sure I trust them, but.
Is this like a yellow flag on certain contractors when this kind of stuff happens, from your experience?
I've never had it. I mean, maybe one. So what happens sometimes is that they get so they are the general contractors, and then they get the sub. Sometimes you see them outside writing, and they're getting the quotes literally last minute, and it's 3:00, and they're getting at 2:58. So they're rushing it because this is by hand. And so then sometimes you make errors. But
So we will accept, though, if they decide to rebid?
Yes.
They haven't been sort of
Yes.
stopped from bidding, they can still bid, okay.
Yes.
Do you know when the next bid is?
so we just are, we're advertising it this Friday to Pinecone and on the city website. So it starts that, and I think, I don't have the timeline with me right now, but we're hoping to get it by like mid or towards the end of July to get those bids, because we still have to, the process is you have to advertise it. We have pre-bid conferences, which is mandatory, so that they understand the operation, because it has to go through the beach. There's equipment that goes, runs through the beach, and staging complications. So they have to attend that, and that's mandatory.
So 30 to 45 days from now?
No, like about 3 weeks. 3 weeks of advertisement. That includes the pre-bid in the middle and answering questions.
But if they have to get it back by the mid to the end of July, would that be getting it back then 30 to 45 days from now? Before we can look at the bids again?
Maybe I said the date wrong, but it's basically 3 weeks from Friday.
Okay,
Yes.
so about.
Yeah.
a little-
Mid-July.
Yes,
a little
yeah,
under
about 30,
months.
less,
Okay.
yeah.
And then just a quick question, because I've seen it kind of both ways. We are talking about replacing the 10th and 12th Street stairs, because I've seen it referred to as the 12th Street stair replacement, but is it both?
It is, yes, there was an error on that one. It's
Okay.
12 and 10.
Okay.
Yes. So hopefully we get something correct this time, but that's the update for that one. And then, there is a little bit of hold on right now on the outfall in sand ramp. I think that's a discussion that was brought in, making sure that the adaptation kind of pathway report is integrated. We have been working with Integral with that one, but at the same time, as I mentioned before, the Integral report addresses like adaptation resiliency pathways, but we still need to do the structure, and they're not an engineering firm. So we need to work on the structural, but looking at the guidelines of the adaptation. So it's really a merge of the two, and that's what we're gonna try to work on for those projects. What else? And the emergency repair, so we had Haru Kasunich before work with us, and we expanded their scope of work, and that's what we're trying to work with right now, because there were several areas that, we could see some erosion developing, as well as the Pescadero. So we expanded that, and so that's what we're trying to work with them right now.
So can I ask you a question about the coastal beach adaptation presentation? Are we going to do that in a similar fashion to what we did last time, where the Forest and Beach and the Planning Commission were all up on the dais when they presented?
I'm not
I saw we were grouped together.
Yes. I mean, it could be, I'll have to ask Mary.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want them to present again. I think the only issue is that they don't have enough funding from the grant to do more presentations, but I can definitely ask her if we combine it, if that's possible.
They did combine it last time.
Okay.
So I'm curious if that was what they were intending on doing.
Yeah, I'll confirm with
Maybe
Mary.
for next month,
Yeah.
we can find that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. What else? Oh, I'm sorry, Mary is here. I'm sorry, Mary, I did not see
she's
you.
hiding back
She's
there.
just hiding. Please, come in, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi there, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Our plan is to take it to the Forest and Beach in July, and then the Planning Commission in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so separately
Yes.
hear it. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so what else? These are more informational. It's not so related, but these are informational, just for your, I guess, review.
Can I ask
Yes,
just
go
a couple questions? On the 11th Avenue erosion, do we have timing on when, how soon will that be fixed?
Well, right now it's temporarily fixed. That is actually the
I know,
recommendation.
But it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, yes, that is actually the recommendation of Haru Kasunich right now. So again, when we get the a little bit more, I would say medium. This is the super short term, like emergency. We would get the kind of like intermediate repair. Hopefully, we get something before October. If not, the plan is that we would still be on top of it, making sure we replace it and all, the tarps and the sandbags, and cleaning up drainage areas. But hopefully we get something a little bit more before October. Rainy season sort of starts kind of that.
So
season.
let me just make sure I'm clear on what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Right now, the recommendation is to just kind of remediate what's there. And then what else is then happening to get us to a point of fixing it? Anything?
Well, there's also the addition, I believe, of a riprap when we talk to him. And then there's some kind of long-term, which is like putting piles and kind of like wooden, let's say, pile sheets to kind of retain that wall. That's more of the long-term one.
So where are we at on any of these deciding which we're going to do? I'm just looking for
Yeah,
okay, we've got it temporarily, so what's the plan?
So right now, it's obviously the temporary emergency.
Yeah.
So the other, what do you call this, recommendation was the ripraps too. So we're gonna be looking at that. But then the long-term one, that would be, I was told that would be a few years, because it would probably need permits both from the Coastal Commission and other things. Because now you're doing piles in engineering, like hard structure.
So if I'm hearing you, we're going to be looking at that tarped off area for a while.
could be, but yeah.
Okay, I would just, anything we can do to,
I think like once we put in like the ripraps, that's a little bit more stable
yeah.
than just having the, and hopefully we can get something hopefully this year. for
Okay,
that one.
that would be good.
Yeah.
My second question, I guess, for Justin too, on the North Dunes, it says the ice plant is removed, so I haven't been down there to see it. So if I go down to the North Dunes right now, all that ice plant is gone?
No, not all of it, but a good amount. Most of.
This says ice plant is removed, so on here.
It would be nice to have, it's great that removal of ice plant is happening, first of all. And I was down there yesterday. I definitely saw a bunch of piles of dead ice plant, which is great. The marauding horde of ice plant coming from the east next to the boardwalk was still there. I did see some spots of ice plant in the native area. But having a metric of so are we going to just try to take out ice plant as we go when we have the opportunity opportunistically? Or is it, we know that there's this amount of ice plant and here's the plan to take it all out? That's kind of like, in my mind, the two approaches, and I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are.
I think I'm gonna have Mary answer this question.
Yay.
Thank you. So we had a plan to have TOPS go down to the North Dunes, and they went down under the consultation of John Wanke at Denise Duffy and Associates. And so he directed what was the most important portions of the ice plant to remove with the funding that we had, and as well as the acacia. There were two big things that he was like, if we can get these areas completed this year and remove this acacia, what he will do is he will write it up in the annual report, which he's wrapping up right now, and we're going to have that annual report come to the Forest and Beach Commission, where it could potentially be July and it might be August. So I think maybe you recall last year we had the annual report that John presented, and it was a similar thing, and there was a sentiment like, can we do more? And so this was kind of trying to address that, doing a quick job, and so.
Opportunistic based on how much money we've got.
Yeah.
So, sure, do you think we could get if you scroll up a little bit, Yvette, up to where it says environmental programs, because if I read this, it says North Dune project, ice plant removal is complete. And that's.
Yeah, I think that was just an
project was.
interpretation of, that we removed the ice plants per the consultant saying, these are the most important
Right.
areas. Of course, the whole thing's not complete, but we did a significant.
No, I think all of that's great. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I'm clear that when I read this, it says ice plant removal is complete, and it's really not.
No.
And I think our goal is someday we can say that, but we're not there. So maybe that's just how it gets phrased, is it's ongoing, opportunistic based, however you want to phrase it, but it's not complete, so.
I think it's the scope of work.
The scope of work that we ask them to do is complete, but,
Yes.
Yeah. This phase is complete,
right.
but there's additional phases.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And I have one more question, but it's really maybe about, I'm not sure how you can answer, but the Public Works Director recruitment and is ongoing. Do we have any sense of how long this is going to take?
I don't know.
Okay.
I had a couple questions, but a statement. There's a lot here on your plate, and you're handling it, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
This is great. I know there's a lot of stuff here, and it's complicated. There's a lot of projects here. And you kind of got dropped into it, so thank you, well done, appreciate it.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading, there's gonna be a super El Nino this coming year. And I just kind of, it's like this slow thing happening, temperatures are rising in the equator, the probability, and I just think, 4 or 5 years ago when we moved down here, I remember going down to the beach, and there was no beach, because the tide was up 20 feet or something. And what I'm just thinking about is, okay, we've got the stairs project coming, and is that gonna get built in the wintertime, for example? Or is there stuff, and I'm not looking for an answer from you right now, it's just kind of a, should we be thinking about stuff we want to do to address or prepare for an El Nino? So I just kind of wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, I mean, that's been in the thoughts of Public Works. My background is floodplain management. Was a stormwater engineer for a while. So this is something we always prepare prior to October, right? Like we prepare like months. So obviously in operations, like that's something we're planning, you know, like the sandbags, let's say. And then the adaptation is still, like the policy is still, you know, like being drafted right now. But obviously there's things that we can do. Like I said, if, for instance, the erosion is not done yet, the design, because I can't dictate that too, right? Like when the design is gonna be like finalized. We will, like the intent is for us in operations and public works to make sure that we're on top of it. And that's what we've been doing actually. Like in February or some rain, like, you know, like a month or 2 months ago, we actually have operations and the police go here at night and weekend to make sure the tarps are there. We put back the sandbags. We cleaned up drainage system. We opened drainage system that God had to make sure that the water is going down. So we will still be doing that in preparation. And those are the things that we can do. We clean up storm drainage to make sure that the water is flowing. So we have operationally, like we have that CIP. I mean, obviously we have to plan it, but we know that the El Nino's coming. Like I've done this in the past. So that's one thing, like maybe we prepare for also, like some of the things we do is like the EOC, right? So I know it's a little bit complicated talking about it here, but it's part of this, right? So we're thinking about if the EOC is going to be utilized at the Vista Lobos, right? So I just talked to, like, let's say Brandon, hey, the transfer switches and generator are really not on the CIP this year. But do you want to put that right now there? Because if this El Nino is coming, we don't have that at the EOC. Right. They still have a backup at the police station, which they have a generator. But just in case, do we want to push that to have that now done at Vista Lobos, to have the EOC really functional? At least if we put the transfer switches, we could just rent those generators. So if something happens, you do have that functional before this El Nino. So those are the things that we're thinking right now. And we could possibly do that earlier.
So in the adaptation report that's coming, and I know we just got it back, but in that report, there was a part that talked about things we could do right now to help mitigate big storms. And the one that stuck in my mind is taking driftwood, big driftwood logs, and bringing them up and securing them so that they provide some kind of break from the waves. There was several things like that I don't know, again, if it's money or is there some things that we could get done knowing that we might help us prevent an emergency?
So we do have a plan. Rob Culver, the superintendent, I believe he came and spoke with you maybe a few months ago to the commission and was saying how we were going to prep for winter. Yeah. And he did say that, I believe it's this week, June 15th, which I think is that Friday?
Yeah,
next week, that he has a D5 large dozer that is going to be rented, and he will be doing the sand redistribution.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he will be doing that.
That he had to confirm with the company that he was going to rent the equipment from, but he did get that rented and has that plan to.
So there's enough sand on the beach now, because I think that was his big
I think
concern,
there's enough so that he
yeah.
can at least start pushing it up against the, and I believe he must have trained, or he himself is trained to use that. So that is a plan for next week coming up to help prepare for El Nino as well.
So that would be great, and hopefully that will be enough. I don't know if it was last winter or the winter before where we lost our entire beach.
Yeah, I think it was the winter before.
Okay. Yeah. And so, you know, in that case, we can only do what we can do. The sand will be washed away. But if we don't lose that, then perhaps that would help. It doesn't sound as though we'll hear the Coastal Beach adaptation presentation next month, and then it goes to the Planning Commission in August. So it's likely that nothing's going to happen from that this winter, correct?
Well, we will have to get the policies in place and
As far
approved
as-
by Coastal Commission.
Right.
And our timeline for that is, because it likely will go to the Coastal Commission, then it will probably come back to the council, and we might go back and forth a couple times. So I think we have till 2027, like, winter, that by the end of winter of 2027. So coming up, but then those
We can-
policies will be in place. But in the meantime, we're working under our existing local coastal program. And so there are things, that we can do and that we have a plan to do on the beach.
Okay,
So,
okay. And then with the knowledge that we'll be working on this, new policies will be made, and those can be implemented once they've been decided and we can move forward. So for this year, we'll revert to our other policies that, okay,
existing
you've
ones,
been
yeah.
existing, okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. You can only do what you can do with an El Nino. Any other questions?
Kelly has her hand raised.
For,
Kelly has her hand raised.
someone's got their hand raised? Yeah, I was calling.
Just to add to, I know
Kelly
it's not
has her?
here. Oh,
I'm sorry, didn't hear that.
Did you want to wait until Shari's done with her report?
Yeah,
Yeah,
until
okay.
Shari's done, yeah.
okay, yeah, just quick ones. The CIP paving project is, like dwindling down, trying to complete that. We will do an improvement to the ADA ramp next to the restroom at Scenic in Santa Lucia. So we will put the ADA ramp as well as ADA parking for that one. So we're gonna switch Sharu from 8 to, where that is 11. No, Santa Lucia, I'm sorry, Santa Lucia. What else? We are also looking at ADA layout adjustment for the Del Mar restroom to accommodate, like more ADA, both interior and the access ramp. So that's for that. Kalam and COD projects are pretty much done. They're just paving and then doing final striping work for that one. I mean, you see Ulrika's project is ongoing. Two things. It wasn't here because we just literally did this week, but maybe something important for you guys is the fuel management work. So we are working with Justin and the contractor to get quotes. We actually got a quote already, about $53,000 to do the fuel management at Pescadero. Second in Casanova, is that correct? And we're gonna hopefully get that done. We're gonna try to see if we can get 2 more coats, but basically, we figure out like a plan to do that work. And so from on both sides of that 2nd Street, like up here to the property and then down the canyon. So that would be the plan. And Justin can give you more update on number of weeks or whatnot that we can get that hopefully done.
Not this time.
Not this time, okay. And we also have the 13th Street evacuation fuel management plan. So we actually drove through it, and Justin and Renee prepared the letter, like the draft letter to give to each property owners on what fuel management kind of work that we need to do along that route on 13th Street. So I think that's it for now, unless you have any other question on what else that I didn't discuss.
Yeah. Just wanted to open it up if anybody had any questions here or online, Yvette?
Other than Kelly, no.
Okay. Does
I
Kelly
think
have a question
I'm
right
good,
now? Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was just curious about the sand movement, but that was covered, so thank you.
Okay, great, all right.
I mean, perhaps, I don't know, perhaps we could put it on our agenda. I think just an update on our beach preparation for the winter. Maybe we should just have something like that as an ongoing item as we come into the winter, just for consideration.
Okay, I've got that down for future agenda items. Okay, Justin? You ready
Moving on.
For your forester's report.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the highlights from Forest Parks and Beach over the past month. So our consultant Dudek has the draft forest management plan, and they gave us the, they said that it would qualify for categorical exemption, so I approved that, so we should be getting that soon with a memo explaining all that I can bring to you guys. The next step would be, once we get that, to have Planning Commission certified that it is a categorical exemption. Our contractors, Community Tree Service is removed several dead trees and pruned some trees, and they've been grinding stumps. We're kind of dwindling down here at the end of the fiscal year. Tope's Tree Service removed a good amount of ice plant and a whole hillside full of acacia down at the North Dunes. And we're still doing bird surveys for all of our work through Denise Duffy. The city crew removed five trees, planted 18 trees, and pruned 20 trees, as well as weed whacked around town and limbing up trees for fire fuel reduction. And we repaired a pretty large leak at the Devendorf Park irrigation backflow. We received 23 tree permit applications, filed 13, or approved 13, and I performed 5 of those being tree inspections, approved 15 trees for removal, and required 14 trees to be replanted. We got in 174 tickets through Fresh Desk and issued 160. But the phone was ringing off the hook, so those don't always, the ones we actually pick up don't go to this number. I just want to relate that. So we're always busy and always fielding calls and requests from the public. Questions?
I do have a question back to the forest management plan.
Yes.
I'm just gonna, maybe this is my civilian part of me saying this seems to be taking a long, long time to get this moving. So now, did Dudek do anything to the report, or are they just?
No.
For the last 4 months, or 5 months, it's just been at CEQA waiting for an exemption?
Well, they were doing their research and making sure that they had the documentation to back it up so we don't get sued.
So when this report comes back, it will be basically the report we've seen. There won't be any changes, or it's just.
Yeah, the draft is the draft. This assessment is something totally different.
Okay, so explain to me then the next step that really helps, and I'm going to say this maybe to both of you, that helps clean up that draft, because I know some of us have made a lot of comments about what should be taken out, some of the things that should be changed. So where does that all happen, and how long is that going to take?
The more we change it, the longer it takes, and that is why it's taken so long. So we are going to bring it to Planning Commission, and if you want to change things, then it may have to go back to CEQA.
But we've made these comments to Ken before it ever went anywhere.
Then I
there
assume
was things that we changed.
I assume that it was changed. Everything that went to Ken, I don't.
So before Ken left, I asked him, and he said that, I think you asked, and I did ask him afterwards, he said that those comments were actually incorporated. So I still have yet to look at where the changes are made, and I think they're red marked, so at least we could show you where it's changed if it's red marked, where it was added.
I guess my understanding of the process was it has to go to Forest and Beach first to get approval before it goes to the Planning Commission, and then the City Council or Coastal Commission. I think that's kind of sort of the process, my understanding.
Well, the draft that we sent off should have, yeah, I guess I think that once it goes to approve for the notice of exemption, we can bring it back, and because, again, if we're not making large substantive changes, we can change the font or the layout as much as we want. That's not changing any possible impacts. So we can do that throughout the process. But in terms of getting it certified and done, Planning Commission is really the next step.
I'm going to take exception to that. I think it needs to be approved by the Forest and Beach first, and then Planning Commission. And I know this process has been long and drawn out, and so I'm not surprised it's a bit complicated. Because I had comments into Mr. Wysowski, it seems like 5-6 months ago. And it just due to how things have played out, I think, nothing.
Well, I sent it to you today. Did you have a chance to read it?
I haven't read,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I don't know if those were incorporated or not. There were some red marks, so.
Okay, so I'll look, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not laying this on you. I know just part of this whole process has been kind of unfortunate, given that Ken left, et cetera. But my understanding was Forest and Beach has to approve the document.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a completed doc, and I've kind of been commenting on this over the last couple months too.
Yeah. I mean, it's my understanding that like the beach adaptation, that the forest management plan has to come to us first, just like the beach adaptation plan has to come to us first, and then it goes to the planning commission, and then it goes to the city council?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that this body sees it.
Yeah, I think just,
Before it moves on.
just so you know, if there's stuff in that there was stuff in the last draft I saw that we gave, I think much of gave Ken feedback on, that I really couldn't approve going to the planning commission if it's still in there.
Okay.
There's just stuff in there that I wouldn't want to see that with my name on it going to the planning commission.
I mean, I think, Justin, we can at least do one more
that's fine.
meeting to discuss that and see that all, like, comments are incorporated from the Forest and Beach at least.
Yeah.
And honestly, most of my comments were about parts that should come out, not adding or changing. Just stuff that should just not be in it. That was a lot of my comments.
Okay, yeah, I think we can do that. We can check it and then bring it to you to make sure that your comments were incorporated and addressed.
So timing on all this, so July, it sounds like we've got the forest adaptation plan coming. So the soonest this would come back to us is August?
Yeah, and that would give us a good amount of time, because with we have 4th of July the week before.
Yeah.
And then August actually is a late one because of Car Week. It's the 3rd week.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have plenty of time to make sure it's dialed in and nailed down.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Justin, in your report?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Anybody else have any comments? In chambers or online, Yvette?
No one online, no.
Okay, all right, great. I did get, Kelly had mentioned, just getting regular updates on the winter work on the beach. And so I've got that as a future agenda item to just kind of keep updated on that. Is there anybody else who has any future agenda items they'd like to add?
I would like, and I haven't seen it, is get an update on what PG&E is doing with their whole tree removal program. I haven't seen that. So.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I met with them, and I've looked over some examples of the work they're doing. So I'm going to release some of those permits and then look at the rest of them. For the most part, it was an annual permit, and for the most part, it's stuff that they've done every year. It's just different. For some reason, they've never given me the large chunk like this. It's been these small pieces at a time. So
can you quantify that for next meeting and say that I got this many permit requests from them? I've approved this many permit requests. Can I get that quantified a little bit?
Okay.
That'd be great. Because when they talked about it in the paper, it was like, we're taking out hundreds of trees and what I'd like is just an assurance that that's kind of either what's happening or it's not happening.
It's what they do every year. It's just this one was 600 instead of 100 at a time. Yeah, so I'll bring it.
It would be nice to get a real clear update on that.
I think for me, obviously, tree fines.
Yeah.
We have to get on our horse on that one.
Right.
Clearly. I'd mentioned last month, I'd like to have a discussion on the significant tree worksheet.
Yeah.
Because we need to do it in the public.
But what's the goal? Because we're not going to change it.
Well, I want to see 2 items added to it, and I think that was just due to the last evaluation, which is make sure there's an owner of who did the evaluation and a date. And I want to have a discussion about whether or not we want to ensure that a evaluation of a tree is done within a certain time frame around an appeal. So I think, unfortunately, the last one, it was done a long time ago, and that caused a lot of kerfuffle and extended. So that's from the point of view of the Brown Act, we've got to do this stuff publicly. That's why I'm asking for that.
I think Justin did agree that you would do that if something is appealed, that you would,
Yeah,
as part of
I'll do
your
it.
process, you would do an updated.
I don't know if that's necessarily a full agenda item. I think I can,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do with that, I can do with that. We can have a discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
I think Tamara, I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yes, I
but
can.
The
Kelly.
beach, reaching out to Carmel Cares for their annual beach presentation.
Yeah.
I can help make contact with them, but they had done a nice job just summarizing their their yearly work at the beach, and so we should invite them for that.
That's a great idea. Okay, maybe in August?
That would be great.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Kelly. Okay. All right, meeting adjourned, 5 o'clock.
Wow.